Alright guys, Monday morning, the 13th of November. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about today. I wasn't even sure whether I wanted to talk about the Delphi case today, although all I seem to be thinking about when I think about true crime is the Delphi case. So I'm going to stick with Delphi today. I want to take it right back to the case itself. Let's go through the entire day of the 13th of February 2017, going through from the early morning until the girls it was new that they were missing. Alright, so we've got mainly the PCA, according to the defence memorandum that was released on the 18th of September. Not everything in that memorandum can be thought of as accurate, but we'll take the timings, all right, and then we'll talk about where there is that discrepancy. We've also got a couple of sketches, so this is not official from law enforcement, this is stuff that's just come out. So Teresa Lieber, who lives in this area here, saw a man. She was in the passenger seat of a truck. She saw a man walking down this road, so I don't know exactly where on this road, but near the bridge at 8:30 a.m. and she thought it was strange because the only people who ever need to go down there are people who live at these properties, so no one other than those who live there or who visiting those who live there would ever go down that road. You can't get down it on Google Maps either. It doesn't give you a street view. The bridge actually ends on it, so the south side of the bridge ends on this road. Okay, so it's a shame that you can't drive down here, but it is an actual road until it just turns into a track. So that's at 8:30 a.m. Some people say that that sketch looks like Elvis Fields. A lot of people actually say it looks like Elvis Fields. I can't see it, honestly. So this is the bridge, right? So it starts about here, goes over Deer Creek, and then ends at this road here. And it's about just under 300 yards long. So you could walk it in 3-4 minutes, as long as you were confident on a high bridge. So we know the crime scene's around here, this rough area here. If you look, there is a crossing point right here. The BG video at 2:13 was taken nearly at this south end, nearly at this end of the bridge. So down the hill, they go down this track here, and then they can go down the hill there, and then there's like a sandbank or something, and if you walk there you've got very little, I mean obviously it's difficult to tell, but you've got very little river to actually cross at this area. And the crime scene's kind of around here, might be a bit up there or a bit down there. Anyway, that's where the crime scene is, and that's on Ron Morgan's land. So what's the next time point? Well, we've got a time point at 12:43, and according to the PCA, there is the 3 juveniles, or 4 juveniles, but 3 gave statements. There's a picture that they took of the bridge at 12:43, so that's a hard and fast time point, right? So 12:43, and then the juveniles were walking back this way. So it's only about 0.7 miles from the bridge to the other bridge, so from the Morning High Bridge to the Freedom Bridge. But these juveniles took them like 40 minutes to get from there to Freedom Bridge, or just before Freedom Bridge. So I don't know what they were doing, messing about in the woods, maybe they went down to the creek, I don't know what they were doing. But 40 minutes later or so, they took a photograph of a bench on this trail, so we know it's just east of the Freedom Bridge. Now, the other sketch that hasn't been released by law enforcement, but is attributed to Riley, who's one of the juveniles. saw a man with a mask on around 1:26, and that's her sketch. So this is where Richard Allen comes in, because around 1:27, a car going west past the Hoosier Harvey store building, there's a camera on the end here, going west, all right, 1:27. A car similar to Richard Allen's 2016 black Ford Focus. Okay, but we don't know it was that car. We just assume it was that car, because then it's assumed that Richard Allen parked at the old CPS building because there's no Farm Bureau building. So we've talked about this in the last few days, that there is an old Farm Bureau building in the area. It's about a mile away. It's in the town. The building's no longer there. There's a parking lot. So did he park there? Now in the PCA, it does say that when they interviewed him in October 2022, he said he parked near an old building. But did they give him a map and asked him to point on the map where he parked? We don't know the answer to that. So we don't actually know where he parked. Yes, of course, it would make more sense that he'd park here if he was going for a walk on the trails. But my point that I've made in previous videos this week is that there is an old Farm Bureau building, or at least a site of an old Farm Bureau building. So it is possible that he parked in the town and walked up to Freedom Bridge that way. If he was in the town, maybe he just left his car there and went for a walk. It's possible. No, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying it's possible. So it needed to be clarified, and we don't have that clarification. So law enforcement say in the PCA that he parked here, then he walked down the road to the Freedom Bridge, got on the trails here, all right, and the juvenile females are walking this way, and he's walking this way, and that's when they see him, all right. But the sketch from Riley doesn't look like Richard Allen, in my opinion, but they saw someone. Now, the thing is, Richard Allen also claims to have seen 3 girls, but he also alleges, and we've nowhere to prove which is right, that instead of being there 1:30 to 3:30, that Dan Dullin has said that made it into the PCA, but he didn't record it because, I don't know, I thought I recorded all my interviews, but no, I can't find that one. So we don't know whether Richard Allen did say he was there between 1:30 and 3:30, so covering the time of the murders, or, as he said in the October 2022 interview, according to the defence memorandum, which isn't in the PCA, he said he was there between 12:30 and 1:30 approximately. And he said that he walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge, and he was watching a stop ticker on his phone, and then he sat on a bench for a bit, and then he went back to the Freedom Bridge and went home. Or I don't know where he went, but he left. Well, is it possible that the 4 girls did see Richard Allen, but instead of Richard Allen walking this way, he was actually walking this way? I don't know, because it's around the right time that Richard Allen would be leaving. We don't know. And there's no way to prove it. All right. So Betsy Blair sees the girls leaving this way as she's driving up here, because she drives round here presumably, down here, and then she parks near the trail there. Okay. And Betsy Blair's caught on camera at 1:46. So what's that? A couple of minutes maybe. All right. So I don't know, about 1:45, the girls are walking over the bridge here. She's driving under, she sees the girls. All right, so the girls are leaving at that time. Okay, Betsy comes along, so we'll talk about Betsy next. So at 1:46, she's caught on Hoosier Harvey store. She parks around here at the Mears farm. She walks to the bridge, okay? And then she sees a man on platform 1 of the bridge here. And that's the young man sketch. So the young man sketch, in my opinion, looks very similar to Riley's sketch. So is it possible that Betsy and Riley saw the same person? Yes. If there was a young man walking along here, 126, sauntered along here, because neither of these look like Richard Allen, and then he's on the bridge at 2. Okay. And remember, at the 2019 press conference, Superintendent of Indiana State Police Doug Carter said that it's the young sketch that they're focusing on because that's now the killer, and the old sketch that was done from Sarah Carbo's sighting, which we'll get to in a minute, that's now secondary. So they're saying that this young man, and in the defence memorandum, Betsy Blair says that she saw a young man between 20 and 30 with bushy hair, wearing a blue coat and blue jeans, but bushy hair. That's not Richard Allen. So Betsy then leaves, and she's seen, so she walks up here, gets her car, and then she's going back this way at 2:14. All right, okay. Meanwhile, the girls had been dropped off. And Betsy said she thought she saw them walking this way. Now, Kelsey's car, so Kelsey is Libby's sister, of course, she's seen on the Who's Your Harvester camera going this way at 1:49. So she dropped them here, at the trailhead here, and she said that she sat there in a car for a minute or two, watching them until they kind of went out of sight. So she said in an interview, I think with Gray Hughes, she said that it was something like 13:38 that she got there. So if she stopped and watched him for a few minutes, and then 1:49. Okay, so Betsy Blair walking this way sees the girls walking this way. But then they reach the bridge, and at 2:07, so towards the south side of the bridge, there's that picture of Abby that Libby took. 6 minutes later, the picture of Bridge Guy. So where was the man, the young man, on the platform 1 that Betsy Blair saw at 2? Because he wasn't on the photo that Libby took facing north. So where was he? Did he get off the bridge and go into the trees? Was he waiting for the girls? Was he just waiting for anybody to be on their own on the bridge? We don't know. It could have been a long wait. I mean, there's a lot of people around, but why choose those 2 girls? Why not Betsy Blair? If the man was there and Betsy saw him at 2, why not her? Why not the juveniles that he'd already passed? Don't know. Makes me feel that it's targeted, but I don't know. Why Abby and Libby? I don't know. Okay. So neither the man that law enforcement are saying is Richard Allen, nor the girls are seen after 2:13. Yet there's still more activity. So on the trails, right? But a man is seen on County Road North, which is here, as Sarah Carbo is passing this way. She sees a man walking west. She passes the camera at 3:57, and the man's walking this way. Now, how was he not caught on this camera? I've made videos about this before. If she's passing the camera here, going this way, how's the man not on the camera? Because if he comes up the trail here and walks along the road here, going to get caught on the camera. So is he going to walk muddy and bloody? Remember, she said he's muddy and bloody in the PCA, although in the defence memorandum he wasn't muddy and bloody, he was just muddy. And how did she see that just going by on a car? I don't know, but eagle eyes. But apparently he was wearing a tan coat, not a blue coat. So if he came off the Freedom Bridge and was walking along here to go to his car, which could have been a full Focus, or it could have been a purple PT Cruiser that was seen at 2:10, or it could be the smart car that was seen at 2:28, or it could be the Comet, the 1965 Comet that Betsy Blair saw as she passed by going this way to go for a walk. So this little car park, it was pretty busy, wasn't it? All right. So she had to see him between the Freedom Bridge and here. She had to see him there as she passed by. So maybe about 5 to 4. Okay. But Richard Allen, in October 2022, not mentioned in the PCA, said that he was already gone. He'd gone at 1:30. Again, we can't prove it. So she passes this way. So just before 5 to 4, she passes him here, muddy and bloody in a blue coat. Although he was actually just muddy in a tan coat. This man that she saw. And that's the older man sketch. Right? That was her sketch. That in 2019, Doug Carter said was now secondary. So presumably not the man who was the killer. Well, what about what Julie Melvin said that someone had told her? So this is hearsay. That around here, a man jumped out from the woods. The man going this way jumped out from the woods as a couple were walking this way. Because there was other people out there after 3. There was someone on the bridge, there was someone under the bridge having an argument, and none of them saw or heard anything from this crime scene, which is just 0.2 miles from the south end of the bridge and can be seen. This is, I don't know, maybe they went down in a little dip and just couldn't be seen from the bridge, just that little point, I don't know. But nobody saw anything. And then Derek, Libby's dad, arrives about roughly 3:15. So texts Libby at 3:11, I think, saying he's on his way. Gets there about 3:15. Walks down here, can't find her. Well, if he's there at 3:15, by 3:30 he's going to be here. Easy. And the man to be... Assuming that the muddy and bloody or just muddy or the one in the tan coat or the blue coat is here at 5 to 4, if he leaves the crime scene at 3:30 to get here at 5 to 4, Derek's walking this way. So Derek's walking this way. Where's the killer? He must be in the woods, hiding in the woods to get up here for a couple to see him, and then to be here at 5 to 4 and bypass this camera. Because he must have got on the trail, back on the trail here, so Derek's literally just missed him. Or the killer's the young man and didn't go back that way at all. The killer could be the young man who went back this way and disappeared this way. Because, listen, if I was a killer and I had blood on my clothes, I'm not going to walk back on a trail or even in the woods near a trail. I'm going to walk this way where it's really quiet. I'm going to park my car off the road somewhere where there's no one else. And I'm going to walk up in the woods. I'm going to creep along. I'm going to wait in this area so I'm not seen. However, there was a similar man at 126 that Riley saw. So, don't know. But that's the timings of the day. What do you make to it all? Oh, I saw Criminality last night. There's a little piece of, right at the end, little interesting piece of information about the unspent round. So, this is from Julie Melvin. I know some of you don't like Julie, but hey, this is from Julie Melvin. She's under the impression that the unspent round was found on the 14th, or maybe the 15th. And somebody from this area called Brad had his Sig Sauer taken, their house searched and Sig Sauer taken, and they got it back eventually. The unspent round wasn't considered important. And this is all obviously just hearsay, but the unspent round wasn't considered important by the FBI. And that'll be why there's no chain of custody or any information about it, how it got from being in the ground to being in the forensic lab. And they just thought one of the cops had dropped it. And also, there was also other casings, like spent casings, around from a .40 caliber weapon. But the girls weren't shot. So if they tested, Criminality made this point, if they tested all the cops who was in that area who had .40 caliber Sig Sauers, and they could say definitively that it wasn't from any of those guns, you've got a better case against Richard Allen. Was that done? Nah, probably not. Alright guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.